The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's yet another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, as usual, I'm your regular host. Jagba is my name. And of course, we have another regular analyst, Silas Ezogu, with us. And for the big issue of the day is Father Mbaka's Travails and the role of clerics in politics. Well, Charismatic Enugu Priest, Rev Fr Ejike Mbaka, was removed, transferred out from the Adoration Ministry, and sent to the Monastry. Father Mbaka is a well-known Christian cleric of the Catholic Church, and a controversial one at that matter. Although we have always seen him make some prophecies, and those prophecies coming to pass, but he got into trouble at a point where he described the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, as a stingy man. At that moment, he was banned from holding services at the Adoration Ministry. Just yesterday, the news spilled out that he had been sent to the monastery. This raises the question about the role of clerics, men of God, in the political life of a country. Silas, it is a discussion that at the end of the day, we all know. You know, Father Mbaka. Father Mbaka was the man who prophesied, the man of God who prophesied that Jonathan will not win the 2015 election. And it came to pass. I think this happened when, I think it was an experiment with some pigeons, where it was said that certain pigeons refused to fly when they were removed out of their nets. And at the end of the day, so many other prophecies Mbaka has made and came to pass.
Actually, around that change, I know the body came with change mantra.
Change
He
mantra.
said announcing change.
Change, yes.
And also it also provides the coming of hope.
Of course.
He also said, and at that time, hope was number 4 on the electoral race. And say announcing hope in Imo State.
Imo State.
So it was like, what's it talking about? People like say, them is off the mark.
The mark, yes.
But when it happened, people started taking notes.
Taking notes. They were shocked. And that has
endeared
him to his followers at the Adoration Ministry. And that ministry is a ministry that Mbaka single-handedly brought up to the stage at which it is now. Even the followership, the crowd, the congregation grew under Father Mbaka. And his transfer from the ministry drew negative reactions from his members, who have sworn that they will not attend the fellowship or the ministry again because of Father Mbaka's transfer. And I think the Reverend Father that was transferred to that place too was almost mobbed yesterday by angry members who were not happy that Mbaka was transferred. What would you think about his transfer generally? Most people say it's persecution. Some people say no, it serves him right. He will learn not to delve into national politics any longer. To the extent of calling the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, a stingy man.
Well, this question you asked me is different for different people. Those who say something right have their own premise. That people don't like his gods. Even among Catholics,
yes.
among the clergy in the Catholic Church, that those who don't want to see him because of his, the older priests who are used to the orthodox means of, preaching and administration. They're not used to this charismatic, forward-looking, aggressive
approach to
yes,
to sermon and
yes, and the only reason why he still have a lot of credibility because the Catholic priest, one of the miracles recorded in his ministry, is what is pulling people. We know the problem with fake pastors and fake clergy,
of course.
But to a certain extent, the Catholic Church is yet untainted with that kind of situation because they're not supposed to be worldly. They're still to hold of poverty and other things. So they're not supposed to be looking for anyhow to make money. Even if they raise money, it's for the church. So when it now begins to be this popular and it's supposed to be self-expressing, most of the time, doing this, even if they do miracles, they don't make noise about it. If God used to do miracles or do things, so for Mbaka known to have this kind of in the whole country, there's no that category to talk about apart from Mbaka. Beyond your parish or your parish or your zones, the diocese where you are. You can hardly hear about another place, especially apart from those within area. But everybody in Nigeria knows about every Catholic, every Christian knows about Mbaka because of his assistance. And they start today. It started during the time of Chimaroke. But the political journey to this national limelight, because the time of Chimaroke. When Chimaroke became governor, the Urban boys, there were a lot of thuggery and killings and so on, which Chimaroke's boys were accused of. At the time, a lot of political killings, assassinations, people were shut up. In fact, if you said anything, you disappeared. It was only back they had the cost to be presiding in government. I said, this is not how to rule the state. If you remember the story again, remember even some goons allegedly hired by the state government, even shot him. It was widely known that they find that in point blank, and they thought he had died and went away. There was two boys was training, two orphans were begging them to shoot their master. This is their master, the only person they know is their father. And then they shot him and went away. And then in fact, somebody who read the story said there was jubilation somewhere in government house on his adoration day. He came out and said, "I'm alive." And Sky High was attacked, and how they shot him, and when they thought he was dead, and God said it was not his time. So, it became as if this guy was not going to die by bullets, by anything the governor did. So, other times, I'm just saying a bit of what, of course, led him. So, that struggle with Chimaroke, Enugu, and all the stuff they said for him then that he overcame, made him so popular that people saw him that this guy's a man of God. And he said, he kept saying that in the time of, we're going to that, in the time of old, when the king became dictatorial, he took the prophets to tell him the truth, which nobody else had the guts to do that. And as a man of God, he had given life to Christ. If he died today, he had sacrificed his life. So even if they kill him, he's doing his job. So that is political life that came up. Before then, of course, he had been doing a lot of things in the past, which are like, administrations, liberation of people, all those things. There are things that people don't. That's why those people are they're ready to die for him.
Yeah.
Because some of them have received spiritual intervention in their life. There are stories of even them waking up when you pray for them. Those who have eyes open, those whose businesses were shut, who are spiritually, cloistered, that he free through his prayer. So those things are there. That's why those people are ready to fight anybody else. But when it comes to issue of spiritual gifts, not everybody has given it. So if you bring somebody else who is not ready to, does not have the kind of spiritual endowment he has, the church knows that he has the kind of point. That's why they cannot just treat him anyhow. Because the kind of thing he has done, they would have thrown him far away. So that's why they're managing him, knowing that he's assets. He's an asset to the church, but they want to cut his excesses. He's a human being. He's not God. He's not perfect. He has his foibles, like all of us do. But they are feeling that because of his calling, the training, and everything, that he needs to trim off those things. That's why they're taking no action to control him. Not so that it doesn't go away. You know?
But let's look at
So you ask that question, then yes, those who have that kind of mindset that this is not the way the priest should present himself will say, I know someone who is even a knight in culture who wrote an editorial at the time attacking him for just saying something. You know, those kind of older people, the younger people who are seeing the challenges that the new Pentecostalism is posing to the church, with miracles, both genuine and fake, and all these ministrations and Pentecostalism, they are seeing him that okay, well, we are sure that this person has such calling, and they are sure of his they trust his source of spiritual insight. So at least they can stay with him. That's what's happening here. So with the older generation of Catholics, the older ones, they always have a problem
to stick into their tradition.
Yes. So that's that. It's breaking with tradition.
Well, you see, that is even the case. Well, let's come to the latest offense, or how would we put it, that would have actually led the church to wield the big stick on Father Mbaka. And it was all about him calling the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, a stingy man. But naturally, the Constitution of Nigeria speaks about freedom of speech. Peter Obi has always been referred to as a stingy person, not only by Father Mbaka. There are so many Nigerians who consider Peter Obi as a stingy man, although there are some who feel no, he's not necessarily stingy. It's just that he doesn't believe in wasting money. So Father Mbaka would have spoken in his capacity as a Nigerian, forget about that he's a priest. So if he refers to the presidential candidate of Labour Party as a stingy man, what has that got to do with the church? He is actually expressing his own personal opinion.
Yes.
Because don't forget, even in church, there are pastors who take on their members and tell them how stingy they are for not paying tithes and tell them where their place will be. So what would have been such kind of offense will now warrant that kind of...
Listen, when you're holding some office, there are certain things that you think that you cannot just say because of the impact it's going to have. Now,
but don't forget that pastors,
that's the one piece.
Clerics, fathers, they preach about the speech against stinginess.
No, see, even when Father says what he said, the creation that came showed if Peter has not even been a stingy man, that he's just been a prudent man in a country that people are used to wasting government resources. Okay, without prompting, people who have come in contact with Peter, we started talking about his generosity, only that he does not feel like making noise about it. Did anybody know before they don't even know that Peter built a church all by himself and donated it to the community all by himself? Some communities spent 30 years, 20 years. The one building my town, they're not finishing in 50 years. But he himself single-handedly built one church and donated to the church. Where my sister is head of school, National Hospital, Suka. I went home one day and my sister told me that Peter visited them to just give a talk. And after giving a talk, he gave them 100 million. It was not announced anywhere. It was not even during this political season. When I asked him, Father, this one, he said, no. These are people, these young people that are training, the midwives, the medical lab tech, and the nurses are the ones that saved their life at the first time. So if I drop down now, it's then I'll give me first aid and treatment before I can be taken anywhere. So that he wants to spend the money in training capacity of people who can help society. Then, of course, other people started talking their stories of how you can see people he went, their business was falling down, he gave them $1 million to pick them up without asking for the payment. So people started talking about, the only thing that when the video I saw was at the point where he was asking Peter to mention an amount to give to the ministry as a governor. He said, I can't give you money as a governor. Anambra State money. Well, there's no budget for that. But as a personal person, I can give you my own. But you have to show me what is money for. I saw that video. Tell me the project. If you say you are building a new church, okay, say I can support it. I can buy maybe 200 bags of cement or build one section of it. But you just asking me, tell me the project. They asked me 3 times. People out of shame will just say 20 million so that they will run away from the crowd there. But Peter has to be his own person. He said, what is the money for? What am I spending my money on? I said, I don't pick money from jail. I make my money by hard way. Tell me what the money is for. Let me tell you, because I know this Father Mbaka has thousands of people he paying their school fees through the donations people make, those who God has favored through his prayer. That orphans he pay their school fees, that widows in hospital is supporting their business. There are those in the hospital. Someone told me if you go to you don't teach or orthopedic Enugu, that most of the people that go there who cannot pay, it pays off their hospital bills for them to go. So he has thousands of people that the money that comes to that ministry, he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't even know, even if I have a toilet, he's not supposed to support them. So, but Peter just needed to school. If I told Peter, look, I want to pay school fees of 200 students, Peter would just have said, okay, fine, how much is it? I'll give you. But he wasn't able to tell Peter at that point what the money was meant for. That was just it. So people can see that as stingy, but it's about being prudent.
Yes.
Peter spends money where it's important.
Yes. But
do you know how much he spent in his campaign? People ask him to give him billions. Donate. He said, no. I am running my thing for now. All this money I'm spending is my money. I have it. I'm spending. When I need it, I'll tell you. But some people are using the opportunity that they run for president and amassing money. He said, no, wait. I'm doing this thing. So that is why the church found out that even the way he went about to say he's not going to win because he's a stingy man. You are judging somebody that is for Nigerian people to judge, and because of the weight, because of the kind of friend he has, he can begin to form the mind of people against a candidate. You are not completely marketing a candidate, because you have a personal thinking about him. I have said it in front of the church. If I ever send it to your house, we have seen it in front of a congregation. It was not a decent thing to do, and that's why the way he's coming about talking about money, that this is not the way the Catholic Church does.
I think I must put it succinctly again for you to understand the situation here. After that comment, he was suspended for 3 months. After that suspension, it was expected that punitive measure would have been enough to say, okay, now, after serving 3 months suspension, he was now transferred for Adoration Ministry, a ministry he built. He single-handedly worked to build to the level it is. And not just transferring him from there, sending him to the Monastry, where they prepare more people to become monks and nuns. It's very funny.
No,
and then
the monks. Do
you know that even in church, pastors, men of God have always been preaching against people who are selfish, people who are wicked, and that wickedness will make them not to see heaven. And now, if Father Mbaka as a priest now says, Peter B, you will not win the election because you're very stingy. It's as the same thing as talking to sinners in the pulpit who are very inconsiderate. They don't think about their fellow human beings. They are so stingy and wicked. That is how most Nigerians see it. They don't see it as if to say he was just being particular about Obi. He spoke as a man of God. We've heard men of God talking about sinners and they'll find their place in hellfire. If you say so, there are many. Do you know when you refer to sinners, we're talking of individuals, irrespective of your position. Even if you, no matter, like, be the president of the world, once you're a sinner, a man of God can comfortably refer to you as a sinner and tell you go to hell. But perhaps just because most times they say that it's a general term without referring to a particular person. But that is what Nigerians think Padam Baka did. So that comment he made, naturally, most Nigerians feel it would have been considered as his own personal opinion. And airing that opinion is because constitutionally he has a right to free speech. Just like we remember, we always talk of gagging the media. When we write about
no. If you read the letter that the Bishop Omanaga wrote, he said there had been many times that have warned him from desisting from this exercise, but in each time he has breached it. And one thing the church does not tolerate is disobedience. In fact, on your ordination, you kneel down before the bishop and swear an oath of allegiance to him as the face of the church. So the bishop can decide to send you to a God's stamp, so you know that you can get and die, and you have no option but to go. You know, in the Catholic Church, you have police that work within the city, you have missionaries, you have other ones, different colleges. That those who go to the monastry from day one, and the only thing they do is to pray for the work, pray and work 24 hours. That's their job. Pray for the country, for the individuals, for different things. That's where he has gone. So the kind of spiritual, they want to have him a spiritual rebirth so that he can refocus. Because look, there's nobody within the culture who doesn't know that is immensely gifted. Nobody questioned about it. No, there's no question about that. Sometimes his personal nature interferes. Nobody questioned. But they want him, they feel that possibly this thing he's doing is now diverting the attention from his main ministry. It's okay. Maybe you want him to go there, a kind of place where he should go for kind of a retreat, a period of retreat to reassess himself and focus on the mission of winning souls for Christ. That is his job. To win souls for Christ, not to begin to talk about who win the election. How many men have gone, Catholic especially, knowing the way they do it, have you heard them talking about election? Even when Bishop, another popular priest, the Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Asankoka, he can't tell them, he can't come and tell you, vote for Tobi, don't vote for Tobi. You know what I'm saying? He can always tell you, vote, make a wise choice. Don't say your vote. This kind of thing they can tell you. Vote the person that has empathy for the people, that is not corrupt, that's not going to sell your patrimony. That he will tell you the kind of qualities that the leader should have, and allow you. Not those who say, look, you know, because he didn't come here to give me money for adoration, for Adoration Ministry. That kind of thing, you know, it was his personal mind that was now using to superimpose. Okay, let me tell you. After he spoke that thing, that was even when Peter's popularity began to what? To vibrate all over the country. When he said that, did you see the kind of outpouring in the whole country in support of Peter? Peter didn't say anything, but all people said, okay, look, if it's a thing you want him like that, because Nigeria needs somebody who will stop the wastefulness that's going on. Yesterday, the story we carried in this question about a school in National State alone, 479 schools that were not existent, that federal government pumped money to feed students, pupils in this school feeding program. You think that someone like Peter will allow that kind of thing to happen? So it is the kind of wastage that Peter does not want to see. Plug the money into something like productive. So, but Father saw it in a different light, because possibly other people who have gained, you feel that the place for Father to become bishop to become, he was seeking his prayer to win his governorship battles in Anambra, and he won, so that it's going to come and give money. No, that's not the Catholic Church preaching. Give from a willing heart. If you feel that God has done something for you, you can come and go. It doesn't even mean that you have to go to Mbaka's church to go and give it. You can go to people in the street, can go to Monastry, can go to orphanages
on the street,
and give it. You don't have to go and give it to one particular priest.
Well,
so that is the way church. That's why church feeling that his approach to it was not in the way the Catholic Church systems.
Okay. Because most Nigerians are actually sympathetic to the members of Adoration Ministries, because from most reactions we have seen from Nigerians is that even in the Bible, we have seen men of God, prophets sent by God who speak truth to power. You can remember the experience of Elijah with King Ahab and Jezebel. You remember Moses, who was sent to Egypt, and so many other prophets in the Bible who were very frontal and faced the government of those countries, I think, kingdom then.
Yes, Nathan and all those things.
Well, of course, we've heard it all. The punitive measure taken by the Catholic Church against Father Mbaka all borders on the fact that his teachings and his attitude does not tally with the doctrines and the teachings of the church. Although most Nigerians are wondering why the man of God should be removed because of his own personal comment about someone he considers as stingy. Well, the decision has been taken. Of course, let's see how it goes, because the members of the Adoration Ministry have threatened to back out of the church. And that entails that the new priest sent to that church will have to be preaching to an empty seat. He's preaching to empty seats. As the members say they are going to go with Father Mbaka. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, our thanks, Silas, our in-house analysts, for addressing the big issue and giving us more insight into the doctrines of Catholic and what the conduct of a Catholic priest should be. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.